Welcome to the Guidance for Light and Sound Meditation video series with Mark from PureEnergyMeditation.com. This is video number 42 of 45.
Hello and welcome back to another video in this online meditation video course. We've covered so much now and we're really starting to understand the bigger picture and our potential to realize enlightenment, which is to become the source, to return to unity, which is what is behind everything and is, if you like, the highest goal that exists. Now, obviously with such a big goal, people see it very much as the end. It's the end goal. You know, once you're enlightened, that's it. But actually, from experience, enlightenment is a beginning. It's not an end. Now, to get to enlightenment, we talk about initiation. So initiation is that process whereby we gain access to spiritual energy in the form of light and sound. And if you haven't seen the previous videos, I really recommend you do, because what we're talking about here is going to make a lot more sense. So the process of moving towards enlightenment starts with the revelation of light and sound energy, which is love flowing in the form of light energy and sound vibration. And for most, that is the start. So it's a bit strange to then say, but enlightenment is actually the beginning. What I mean by that is once you're enlightened, you are everywhere. You are everything. You are one thing everywhere. And that state of enlightenment truly is the only thing that is present. But the mind and the body and the emotions and the personality, they're not enlightened. So we talk about you have attained enlightenment. The personality hasn't taken on the mantle of enlightenment. The personality and the mind haven't expanded to include the state of enlightenment. What's happening is your consciousness is expanding so that you still contain your personality, but within your consciousness you contain more and more of the spiritual realms until you contain everything, and then you transcend it all, and that is enlightenment. And enlightenment is setting your spirit free. In other words, it's the spirit, which is love, which comes from love. It's that divine spark returning to the source. The soul isn't enlightened. The soul, which is the personality that transcends lifetimes, is lifted, it's raised, its vibration rises as a result of the spirit returning to the source, because the spirit and the soul are intrinsically connected in this relationship. And so as the spirit returns to the source and the spirit is now omnipresent, is one thing everywhere, and is love, then everything connected to it is raised in vibration. So your soul raises up in vibration, and your soul no longer has to go through this process of birth and death and birth and death. It's freed from the karmic cycle. And the personality that you had before you started meditating is still there. But now it's got access to all these amazing realizations that can come down about this state. So the personality isn't enlightened, but it massively benefits. And from the personality's point of view, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of life as an enlightened person. Now, enlightenment is a state of consciousness. It isn't an intellectual thing. It doesn't belong in the mind or in the emotions or in the body. And so it takes time to really learn to understand what enlightenment is from an experience-based point of view, and to learn how to work with it. And so from that perspective, enlightenment is the beginning of living completely holistically on spiritual dimensions and within the realms of the personality and all the vehicles and the aura and the chakras and everything that were there before you started the spiritual journey. So whether you're literally just curious about meditation or whether you've actually finished your journey and have attained enlightenment, this is really, really relevant. Because what we're starting to talk about here is the bigger picture. In other words, if enlightenment's the goal, what's the purpose of enlightenment? Because the state of enlightenment doesn't benefit from you realizing it. It's already complete. It's already beyond limit. It's already beyond time. So there's nothing that can be added to it. There's no way it can be improved or augmented by your awareness of it. So the only benefits are within the lower self, within the personality, because that's where we find the most duality. To benefit from something, you need to have a need for something. So what we find is that once enlightened, it's not the state that benefits, it's the personality. And how can we learn to get the most from it? So this is about alignment. The beginning of the journey starts off with initiation and getting access to light and sound. And the end of the journey, if you like, is the moment when you realize enlightenment. But that's then the beginning of this integrated life where you are a spiritual being and you're still a human being while you have this life. When the life of a person who's enlightened ends, their soul, as I said, is taken up to a higher level and no longer has to return into this cycle of birth and death. It's free. This spirit already is connected to, or not even connected, has gone back to this state of unity, which is one thing everywhere, the metaphoric drop of water returning to the ocean. So the spirit is free and the soul is free. And as you let go of the shackles of life, then your consciousness, which has nothing to do with your mind or your emotions, your consciousness is then free to raise up to the vibration, the highest vibration that you explored and were aware of once enlightened. Now, at the moment of enlightenment, you have the maximum potential. In other words, everything, all the spiritual dimensions are within your consciousness. But that doesn't mean you automatically go to every single corner. So once you're enlightened, you can spend years exploring the vastness of these different states from the top down and from the bottom up. In other words, there's still much to explore and there's still much to learn and to do. And the other side of it is that once you're enlightened, you now have full potential to be a spiritual being. In other words, you can also act as a conduit. So as I said earlier in another video, once you're enlightened, you have the potential to pass the energy on to others. Once you're enlightened, you have the full potential to channel higher forms of healing than can possibly be done until your crown chakra's open, to channel light, to channel energy vibrations, to channel information. Because those spiritual realms that contain divine intelligence, those beings of love and light, are now within your awareness, because enlightenment contains everything. And so as an enlightened person, you can learn how to communicate directly with these beings of intelligence and love, and therefore bring down information, which is what I did when I produced the book, which is guided, channeled information. And if you haven't seen that video, then there's a link here. And so it really is just the beginning. The journey up to enlightenment is one half of the story. So in the next video, we'll look at, well, how do you, as an enlightened person, or even as someone that's just got access to the energy, how do you integrate more closely with this energy? And how do you get the most from it and benefit and help other people to benefit? I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I really hope you found it enjoyable, but also useful. If you've not already done so, then check out the first video that I did and then all the subsequent videos, because watching them in the order that they're presented, you'll get the most benefit from them. As with all the other things I do, including the teaching, MP3 downloads, articles and the ebook, everything I do for free. And I put it out there simply to help people just like you to get the most from their meditation. So please do feel free to share this video with others. And if you've not already had a look, then head on over to my website, where you'll find lots of downloads, useful articles, and even a free ebook. And most importantly, enjoy meditating and putting into practice these different techniques and things that we're learning. Thank you again for taking the time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.